I was really like shaking, trying to do it, really like have this huge trouble, like in this position, like everything, every place was just burning, every place was fatiguing. And I was like, why is this happening? This kind of, what we can do more like this gorilla version, the bear or gorilla, transform into the cat position, very stiffer or more looser. I can go to a crab with different height, different width, and train this type of movements. And then I can just start to like flow around, go do these different movements. You saw in the beginning some of the very basic movements that I do, like that's really the bulk of my movement training, and you've seen me do those for years. Like this channel is full of different type of movements and variations of those. But the question is really like, why am I doing them? Why do I recommend them for the people? And what's really the benefit of doing this type of movements? When I was, doing at some point like bent over rows with like 90 kilos of weight, and like 225 or something with the bench press, and all of these heavyweight movements or heavy lifting movements, different type of lift, just like traditional weightlifting stuff. And then I went on to try the more versatile movements. I remember very clearly this moment when I was doing like lizard crawl, trying to do lizard and even the cat movement as a workout. And I was like, holy, what is going on? Because I was really like shaking, trying to do it, really like have this huge trouble, like in this position, like everything, every place was just burning, every place was fatiguing. And I was like, why is this happening? I've been doing like this motion so much, different type of presses and all this, like shouldn't I have the strength for this? And I realized, in this moment that there's difference, like the bench press and this stuff doesn't train everything there is. This is not everything there is to the strength. Because otherwise, why would I be so weak here? It also means that even if I did a lot of lizard crawl or something, it may mean that I'm not so good at the bench press either. But it really opened up my mind to the approach that there's so much more to strength than doing just this one-dimensional movements. And I started to practice this more and more and more, and I started to see my strength and my functionality increase dramatically. Because for the first time ever, I was really opening and expanding my strength. I was expanding it to all of these areas. It's completely arbitrary to think that only this kind of pressing movements, I'm not saying they're bad, by the way. I think it's actually good and I utilize them to an extent. But to think that this is the only way, it just didn't make any sense. And that's such a narrow perspective on the human performance and what our body is capable of doing with all of these different articulations that we have, these 3D motions that our joints are capable of doing, both the shoulders, both the hips. They are very highly or highly mobile areas, and they need to be treated in the way where you actually utilize them to their fullest extent. Because if you don't, well, you're never really going to develop your body to its fullest extent. So the aspect of mobility is one. The aspect of versatile strength was the first thing that really came to my mind. Like, this is why I want to do this. This is why I want to train them. But the other aspect just comes to the movement itself, being able to move your body, developing movement quality. So if you never move in this kind of manners, in versatile ways or in agile manners, you won't be moving like that. And there's saying like move it or lose it or something like that. But to learn to move in a very agile or fast manner here or something like this way, or even jump into the air, it requires you to actually do it. It doesn't come just by like that. You can put almost any bodybuilder or powerlifter and try to make him do movement drills on the floor, and you might see some very stiff results. So it's not transferable, and they're not the same thing at all to have strength in one narrow area and to be able to really move well. And of course, transferability when it comes to like sports or MMA, martial arts, or even tennis or football or something, you need to have ability to produce support, produce strength in many planes, in many articulations. You need to be prepared to handle, your joints need to be prepared to handle many different positions so they don't break under the load and under those articulations. So the, injury prevention is also one major thing, because we cannot really always prepare our body so well for this kind of movements, the unexpected movements that come up. But the movement training, to some extent, can emulate this kind of positions and make you much more well-rounded there. The coordination, hand, leg, the agility that you can gain, the limberness is one of the major things that I noticed. So there was again like the feeling when I started to do movement training, even after a long pause, I'm feeling like everything is a bit like stiff. I'm trying to do some movements here, and it just feels so clumsy because I'm losing that sort of pliability of muscles. The more I start to do, the more I'm feeling that sort of softness, and I can move like any way I want here, like do this kind of drills and jump and just feel like I'm flowing, actually feel like I'm fluid. And this is something I feel like not many people ever really experience with their body, is to be able to do something, some movements like that. And just doing like some of these basic, like I said, the bear and the here, and even the grab. If you look at these different positions here with regards to the shoulders, in the bear I have this more like a open shoulder position. In here I have this more like directly forward position where I need to support, and then in grab I have different levels of extension, and when I'm switching I have different abductions, different adductions. So I can cover a huge amount of points, none of them necessarily to the like full extent, like super isolated manner, but every single point I can cover almost with this kind of movements, and it develops a strength for my body to support my body. I always use the term like float on the muscles. Whenever I'm doing these movements, I'm like kind of floating. Doesn't matter where I'm like dropping even this way, I have something to catch me, to take my body to any positions. Or even here, I can go like almost like jump on my hands, and I know I can take, even if I fall backwards like this way, my wrists, the entire wrist area, the tricep area, the shoulder area, there's something that I can rely on in order to really carry myself like even to the unknown areas of movement that I may not have ever even tried in my life. It gives this sort of preparation. So you have that mobility aspect of just having the control in every articulation. You have the looseness, so you can actually have pliable muscle tissue, and this is very important regards to just even force production. Then you have the coordination, the ability to do complex movement patterns. There was this guy, the doctor in physical therapy, who was doing movement 2XX. He said it gave him the ability to approach complex movement patterns with his body. And that was so well said. I haven't even like myself found those kind of words, that you're able to explore these movements with your body. And on top of that, it gives strength in multiple areas. You're not able to just do this one-dimensional patterns. You can create strength to almost any direction with your body. And those are huge benefits that are the reasons why I'm still doing movement, like very practical. For me, of course, it's just also the expression, being able to express myself, being able to express my spirit, my personality, and just being able to do even cool looking movements. Those are like other benefits that are also very important for me as well, and just in addition to all of this more practical fitness stuff. For younger persons, I really highly recommend to do movement training, because you have so much time to improve. You have so much time, even if you're starting from a stiffer position or something, you can become an amazing mover within like a year or 2 years if you just consistently do these exercises. But you need to believe in the power of them and really start to do it. But you should know its effect very quickly. If you are like, consider yourself an older person, it really doesn't matter. This movement training is one of the best ways to rejuvenate your body, to open up your body, because there's so many people who tell me when they go and do, for example, movement Phoenix or some of the movement stuff that we're showing, that they start to feel like little kids once again, because you're doing movements that you perhaps possibly did when you was a child. You were just playing around. There's also movements, some of these movements are things that probably our ancestors did like thousands of years ago. This is something we're trying to emulate. So as an evolutionary step, like these are movements that are created really for our body, or they were created from our body. That's maybe a better way to say it. And that's why they work so well to really develop us to our fullest potential. Like, you can start with this kind of cat, bear, crab movements. You can already get a great start with those. But if you need like more movements and want to have more versatile or really systematic big approach, Movement Phoenix contains like 50 plus different flow movements, mobility training, flexibility training, strength training, everything to support great movement, everything to support really getting limber and open state. So that's it, guys. I hope you're gonna get and start moving already today, like I'm gonna do.